Hi YouTube. Tonight I would like to discuss my collection of alternate history novels. 4 of them. I have 4 in my collection. Now, I am not going to discuss the details of each story in the book because this video will get too long and I'll ramble on and on. And I'm trying to present to you my collection in the most concise way possible without rambling too much. So what I've decided to do is show them to you in order of the point of departure from history, starting from the earliest point of departure to the most recent point of departure from history in each of the books. And I won't get into the stories of each book, but I will for the last one because I think this one is the best. And yeah. So without further ado, let's get going. First book I have is The Years of Rice and Salt by Kim Stanley Robinson. This book's point of departure is in 1347 when the Black Death struck Europe, the bubonic plague, and it asks the question, what if instead of 1/3 of Europe, it wiped out 99% of Europe? So what would a world be like without Europe? And this book explores that. Now, this one is my third favorite, came in third in ranking of my 4 books. Because it's not higher because it involved a lot of Buddhist mysticism and reincarnation and everything. So things like science fiction elements and the supernatural, I don't really enjoy those books very much in terms of that's how history changes. I prefer the ones where a certain event, a certain realistic event, like when someone had 2 choices to make. Someone of prominence had 2 choices to make. He could have made one choice or another, and then he chose to make the other decision, and then the world is a very different place from our world. I prefer those kinds of alternate history novels. So I don't really like time travel very much, or zombies, or aliens. This one involves mysticism. Although I'll give it credit, I did learn a little bit more about Buddhism in the book. Yeah, so that's Kim Stanley Robinson's The Years of Rice and Salt. The next book I have is Joe Steele by Harry Turtledove. This book asks the question, what if Joseph Stalin's parents emigrated from Russia to the United States and Joseph Stalin became an American citizen, entered politics, and went on to become president of the United States? So, this one was very implausible, in my opinion, because, well, how do I put this? Yeah. Although I must admit, it was very funny. Some of the Harry Turtledove's writing style does put a smile on my face very often. Although, yeah, a lot of it seemed very implausible because he jumped to many conclusions as to Stalin going on to become president, and X, Y, and Z would happen. And then I thought, really? Is that how he would rise to power? And would the United States become a dictatorship that quickly? Or would they just accept politicians just disregarding the Constitution like that? maybe in the case of the Great Depression, there was that anxiety at that time when books like It Can't Happen Here were published. But I'm a little bit skeptical. It's a very implausible book. Like, I don't think the American public would put up with such a thing, that their democracy would just fold in that quickly. Okay. The next book I have is Dominion by C.J. Sansom. This book is the first of two books of What If Germany Won World War II? The point of departure in this one is, in 1940, what if instead of Winston Churchill becoming Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, a man named Lord Halifax became Prime Minister, and then subsequently surrendered to Nazi Germany, and then the United Kingdom became a Vichy regime, a puppet state, a crypto-fascist state, or a satellite state to Germany. Call it whatever you want. They retained their independence, but they're closely aligned with Germany's foreign policies. I like this one. It was a bit of a slow burn, the story itself, but it was one of the most well thought out alternate history books that I've ever read. And I felt it was very, very plausible, very, very realistic. Although some critics of C.J. Sansom say, no, certain individuals in history would not have done X, Y, and Z had Germany won. But, we don't know. And he's taking creative liberties. It's fiction. But I enjoyed it because, honestly, it was one of the most well thought out alternate history books I've ever read. It's actually personally my favorite in my collection. The least favorite was Joe Steele, and then coming in third was The Years of Rice and Salt. This one was my first. So my number one book that I'm about to reveal is actually my second favorite, is the runner-up. But that's just my personal preference. Don't take it too personally. But I enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed Dominion by C.J. Sansom, and it was a slow burner. But then it heated up. It really picked up near the end. So, thumbs up. Really enjoyed it. And last on my list, this one appears on many alternate history book collections. Fatherland by Robert Harris. This one, instead of one event changing in history, it was a series of events, a series of correct decisions that led the Nazis to win World War II. So it was a series, and the first point of departure in history is in 1942, when a guy called Heydrich survived his assassination in Prague. This prominent Nazi that was one of the architects of the Holocaust. So anyway, but for this book, I'll tell you the story. So in 1964 Germany, 1964 Berlin, 1 week before Adolf Hitler's 75th birthday, a detective named, I believe his name was Xavier March, finds a dead body in a lake in a park. He begins investigating. For the first 2 days, everything goes fine. He follows the clues, but then abruptly, his higher-ups tell him, no, this is now a Gestapo investigation. Stop now. So they instruct him to stop the investigation. But he doesn't listen. He continues to follow the clues. He continues the investigation despite his higher-ups telling him to stop. So maybe the government's got something to hide. And then you'll have to read the rest to see where it goes from there. So it's a mystery novel, a detective novel, thriller. It's oh, and the story itself, once you read it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Has a lot of parallels, a lot of similarities to George Orwell's 1984. Robert Harris really, really, really was inspired by this book, by 1984. It's very, very obvious when you compare the two books. I actually have 1984 on my bookshelf. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Go get these books. I highly recommend. I intend to expand my alternate history book collection in the near future. So yeah, I might make some update videos. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.